In this video, I'm going to take a look at some interesting details in Battlefield 5 that you may not have seen before. I'll not only look at some of the really specific attention to detail that DICE have put into Battlefield 5, but also the difference between Battlefield 5 with RTX on and off. As you guys know, I was sent a 2080 Ti some time ago by Nvidia, and I really wanted to see what Battlefield 5 looked like on maximum graphics, especially when looking at these details. There have of course been some serious updates since my last video, such as the introduction of DLSS, and you of course have the updates that have come to Battlefield 5, specifically in terms of the gameplay and some of the maps and content that have been updated. I've also got some different Nvidia drivers running, so you let me know in the comments whether you think this is any better than the video before, and of course I'll be comparing RTX off and on, so let me know what you think of the differences. Is it that much? What do you think of it? Let's start out with a detail that I didn't realise existed until the other day. As you all know, DICE have always tried to include little details wherever possible when it comes to the maps, soldiers, weapons and vehicles. You can definitely see some of those in the background with some of this footage. This detail however focuses on the planes in Battlefield 5, and more precisely, planes that have been damaged by enemy fire. You can actually see through the small holes on the plane after they take damage. It's been around in other flight combat games for ages, but this is still a nice feature to see in BF5. Is it useful? Probably not, but it does look really cool. Shooting a smoke grenade causes them to explode in BF5. You can of course shoot grenades and kill enemies behind cover, but the smoke grenades are fairly interesting when you shoot. Now, I couldn't get it to work, but I know for a fact that if you shoot them in a certain way, they will propel themselves into a spiral up into the sky. The way I'm shooting them, they are exploding and spinning around a bit, but they're not exactly doing what I wanted them to do. You can still see my point though. Shooting smoke grenades is a thing, something that you don't often see in games such as Battlefield 5, and it is really interesting as well because maybe this would have some utility in the future. During the last Tiger War story, you can see the barrel of the tank with 26 separate rings painted onto it. This shows how many kills the tank had accumulated before you take control. After the mission, I would expect the entire tank to be painted, considering the number of enemy tanks you have to flatten on your way out. You can squeeze yourself into the roof space in one of the houses when playing on a Wrasse. It's next to the church and I'll show you how to do it with the footage in the background. It's perfect for hiding a spawn beacon, or if you're really sneaky, waiting for enemy soldiers or vehicles to move past and then shooting them in the back. You can also use it just to hide, as your teammates might want to spawn on you and then you can push and capture an objective together. It's a very strong position, but be wary, people do know about this and they will just blow up the building. It is possible to get onto the other section of bridge when playing Devastation of Rotterdam. You can see me doing it in the background, but it's a bit wobbly to try and get up there. Now the reason this is an important position to know about is because of the enemies that can camp across from you on the other bridge. This gives you a great angle to shoot at them, but you can also place a spawn beacon here, which is really useful almost at the start of a game. Now the reason it's important is because often the enemy team will flank round Charlie and take your gimme flag, this alpha objective, straight away, and then you have to spawn in your base and push across the river to get it back. Having a spawn beacon there right at the start is quite a decent thing to do because you can drop onto it and then you can push towards Charlie after capping alpha back. As an enemy, you can also flank round at the start of a match and put a beacon here. It's a very good position for exactly the same reason. It is possible to get up onto some of the rocky outcrops in Fiel 652 to gain a significant advantage over the enemy team. We've seen it many times in the top plays as you jump over the top of this section here and then shoot enemies on your way back down. You can also see in the background that with RTX on and with the graphics turned up, in certain circumstances and using certain weapons that have a scope, you can see reflections of what's happening behind you in the scope itself. It's pretty cool, and unless you slow the gameplay down, which I've done in the background here, you often don't see it. But it's definitely there, and it's really at its most vibrant when there's an explosion, or in this case when the new artillery that you have in the game goes off. It's pretty cool, one of those things that really complements a chromed weapon as well, because it gives it that realistic look and feel. Now we're getting to the part of the video where I'm going to have a quick look at explosions and other really awesome features in Battlefield 5 with RTX on. I'm going to take a quick look at some scenarios in the background, and I've tried to match them up to situations where RTX is off, but in some cases I've just used normal gameplay because that's probably the most realistic thing to use, because that's what you'll be experiencing if you've got RTX on or RTX off. I think the main difference between the two is that RTX just has a bit more of everything. The graphical fidelity is higher, and with RTX I think it definitely is the next level with graphics, and you can see the evidence for that in the background. Let me know what you think down in the comments. RTX is definitely here to stay with Battlefield 5, and I'm really looking forward to posting some more footage in the future with this sort of gameplay in it. I might even put some cinematics at the start of the top plays for future episodes, maybe some special episodes with some of this really good looking stuff. I've included a few cinematics as well from spectator mode because the game just looks really good, and I couldn't resist just nipping into spectator mode and picking up a bit of this footage as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave your opinions down in the comments. I look forward to reading them, and I'll catch you in the next video.